Oh, it's a good topic because we are, we are stereotyped. We just love to kill white people. And they never really give a good history of why we fought back, We fought because of what they did initially. We were just defending our boundaries, and our men folk were defending their communities, their villages, the women folk, the children, because white people were taking our land. So our people didn't like to kill, but they were defending their property, their livelihood, everything that was of value to them. That's what they were protecting. But white society has always portrayed us as being savages. So we just love to kill people. So when I go to see a movie like that, I'm always thinking, gee, what they're going to say about us now or portray us. But I do, I like to see a lot of the documentaries are done fairly well because they do a lot of their homework, so they kind of put what we had to face too. So I like to watch the History Channel. I like to watch some of the documentaries, but what Hollywood puts out is just for effect. And I think that's wrong. I think they should do more, more of their background and research and show, both sides fairly. So I guess that's my kind of take on it too.
Okay, so what kind of Hollywood movies have you seen?
Oh my gosh. I could think of some when I was really young, like Cheyenne Autumn, or what's about the removal, the Cheyenne people. But they always had, white people portrayed as us. Few Indians in there as, extras, but there was always, some Hollywood star, real blue eyes or whatever, portraying Indians, and so that was always like, made you laugh, but you went to see it because it was about Native American people, our American Indian people, and it's like, well, at least they're trying to portray us, but it was the Hollywood version. It was always had some real kind of funny parts in it because they were so unreal. And like everybody lived in teepees. Sometimes they'd have a teepee down in the Southwest, but they didn't use teepees, the Navajo people are, Mohawks. But some of those things were just kind of laughable, but I guess when we were growing up, it was like, well, at least they're showing, showing a picture about Indian people. So we went to see it because of that. But that's one I can remember, and it was just kind of silly because they portrayed us. I think they're getting a little better, but they're still using a lot of, non-native people. I think I enjoy that, what's his name, Chris Eyre? He's, he's a Cheyenne, and Smoke Signals, and it was real funny because when we first saw Smoke Signals, it was in a theater. And there's certain parts you have to be Indian to get to see the humor in it, and we were the only ones laughing. The white people in the theater, they were real quiet, and we're like, what they laughing at? But the Indian car, going backwards, all all the other stuff, because we could relate to that. They couldn't. They didn't know why we saw it so humorous. So that's good, and it's kind of nice to have those because you have. You have Indian people, having some decision-making in how that film is made, which is portraying us in a truer light. So it's kind of nice to see that. And when there is a movie, I go and see it, just to see how well it's done.
But I was kind of thinking about Smoke Signals today, and someone brought up Elaine. I work with Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
She brought up that it's kind of ironic, don't you think, that we're making fun of our own stereotypes, because it's a being Indian, you know, that's basically the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And finding, you know, finding out
yeah.
about being Indian. But we're using, you know, our what people see us as too. Yeah, it is. You do have, well, we're just kind of making fun of ourselves, but we do that. You know, as Indian people, we love to, you know, kind of make a joke about, you know, oh, this one is that and this one is that. But at the same time, he's trying to tell a story too. And it's just our Indian humor to laugh at something. But, you know, we're laughing with you, not at you type of feeling too. So yeah, she brings out a point there, but I guess it's a step up though than what we've normally portrayed as, or portrayed as, you know, by, you know, non-Indian, you know, filmmakers. And at least with him, he is Native and he has, you know, that insight into kind of our humor. And again, you know, his is entertainment. You know, it's not, and you know, he doesn't go saying it's a documentary. It's entertainment. And he knows, you know, like I said, he knows Indian humor. And just like I said, we were the ones laughing in the theater. The white people weren't, but we were, you know. And that's his career, is entertainment. But at least we have filmmakers now that are Native people, that are Indian people. Whereas before, you know, we didn't have that. So I kind of, you know, give him credit for at least having that, you know, bringing us up to a level that wasn't there before, you know. And he clearly states it's not a documentary. You know, he's not trying to make a statement. He's making a film for Indian people, about Indian people, and it's going to have humor in it because he's a filmmaker, but he's also into entertainment. So I guess I see it in that light. But she brings out a point too, but that's fair.
So, I guess what I was always thoughting of most movies way back in Hollywood was they'd always show us as that war whooping, you know, savage, like, but, do you think we were kind of shoved into that stereotype? Maybe should we have said something or did something to stop it ourselves?
Well, I don't think we really had a voice, you know, a national voice. I can remember, you know, some of the movies back in the, you know, when we were kids. We didn't have a strong voice like the National Congress of American Indians that could go to Washington and lobby or make a public stance and say, you know, we're against this. We didn't have a national voice because we were all, you know, we're all individual tribes. But now that, you know, society, communications, whatever we have, we can make those statements now. But before we couldn't. I mean, we might, somebody out in the East Coast, you know, at a college, maybe some young, you know, Indian students would, you know, we're against that. You know, we're against those mascots you use. Well, the media was such that we weren't able to get that until way later, you know, either by, you know, a newspaper or a lot of times they didn't even broadcast. That wasn't even newsworthy to make the radio. You know, so we'd hear about it way later, and it's like, hey, did you hear those kids out in, you know, on the East Coast are going to school and they're fighting that mascot issue? Well, we didn't know about it, you know, like when we were in high school, because the communications were so, you know, limited. But now we do have, you know, we can get on a platform and we can say, you know, we're not going to stand for this. We want it, you know, change, because that is not the way that we are, you know, and we're all very very distinct. You know, there's certain things that we do in common, but each tribe has their own culture, things that they do differently that the white man isn't even aware of. It's funny because even this morning I was talking with a non-Indian lady, and she was saying, well, she works here for the tribe, and she said, we were talking about, you know, people's perceptions, and she said, do you know some of my, a friend of mine I work with at the store in Sioux City was like, well, don't they all get checks? I mean, you know, that's so old and ancient that we all get government checks every month. You know, the government just gives us checks. And oh, and when I was growing up, it was like we all got houses. You know, we get everything free from the government. Well, this morning it was just like, it's still out there. You know, that real ignorant group that still believe that Native people, we all get government checks. And it's like, gee, why aren't they listening, you know? And a lot of times, to me, it's like the people that live closest to the reservation know nothing about the people that live here. And they should be the ones that would know more, you know, about, oh, well, we know the Winnebago people, and they do this, and sometimes we go down to their, you know, their community things, but they're the ones that don't even want to come over. And it's sad because they should be the ones that know more about us, but they're the ones that are